Hello everyone, welcome back to Soap Forge. Today we are making Dark Mark, a Harry Potter themed soap inspired by the villains. We're starting by mixing up our dry additives into our base oils, and then we will add in our lye solution and bring it up to an emulsification. Here I'm using my spatula just to kind of stir out some of those bubbles that have been created by my stick blender. It's been kind of giving me problems lately, but I do love this stick blender. And what I've heard from other folks who use the KitchenAid stick blender, they don't have issues. So it's probably just a me problem. Now my lye solution that you just saw me pour in is tinged pink, and that's because instead of using sodium lactate as a hardener for my soaps, I've actually been letting my distilled water and some pink Himalayan salt kind of just sit in a tub and let all the salt dissolve into the water, making it a saltwater solution. And I used half of that salt water in place of water when making my soap. So I'll have 50% of my water is the salt water, and then the other 50% is either ice cubes or just plain distilled water. And then just to revisit my fragrance selection, I am using Veranda Fern from Cierra candles and Oak Moss from Aztec candle. Together it has a wonderful smell, and over the last few months that it has been curing, the smells kind of become almost a baby powdery green clean smell. It's very nice, and it's very different from the rest of the Harry Potter collection. Now I absolutely love greens. It's my favorite color, and I tend to mix up my different micas to make the right shades of green. So a lot of the times I blend my own, and I just kind of do it on a whim and mix it up until I think it looks right. But I have used Kelly Green mica mixed with some glow-in-the-dark powder. The Kelly Green is from Bramble and the glow powders from Nurture Soap. And then I use Jade Green. That's probably my favorite green to get that perfect shade every time. And that's from Nurture. And then I have two different Savage Garden greens. One is from Elements Bath & Body, which kind of has more of a goldish green tint or olivey. And then the other one is from Nurture Soap as well, and it has almost more of a blue hue to it. All of them are wonderful. I love them all, and they always turn out perfectly. So the pour I decided to go with here is the One Pot Wonder technique. I first learned this from Tree Marie Soapworks here on YouTube, and her version of it was absolutely stunning. It reminded me of like ripples on the surface of a lake or something in the autumn. It's beautiful, and so ever since I've seen it, I've been obsessed with it. It is one of the techniques used to get a wood grain pour. In order to get that wood grain look, you do have to cut your soap a little differently. You'll definitely want to watch some videos on that before you give it a try. I am always happy with the One Pot Wonder ripples though, so when I'm able to accomplish this pour, I go for it. As you can see, my batter here is getting a little bit thick. It's wanting to kind of just plop into the mold versus flow freely. And if you want nice even layers with the One Pot Wonder, then you'll want to keep your batter more fluid than this. I didn't mind so much. I mostly just wanted that layered effect with a little bit of swirling, and I was just trying to make it look ominous. I wasn't trying to go for the perfect layers, but if you are wanting those perfect layers, I definitely recommend working with a thinner batter, and you can always help keep it thinner by stirring each color as often as you can with just like a spoon or a spatula. If you'd like more tips on the perfect One Pot Wonder technique, I definitely recommend checking out Dreamery Soapworks and looking for her video on the One Pot Wonder. And it is now time to place our embeds. We have some snakes and some skulls to imitate the dark mark. And here is a close-up of that glossy, gorgeous top. Alright, and time to cut. And I'd like to ask you, who is your favorite villain from the Harry Potter series? I would have to say mine is Bellatrix, because she's absolutely evil and cunning, but she's still, holds on to her humanity just a little tiny bit, because she's very much protective of her sister, Narcissa. And that's something I feel like I can relate to on some level, because I am the oldest sister of 5 siblings, and I was very, very protective of my siblings. I'm not evil though. No, I'm not. And we're not done yet, folks, because now it is time to bevel those edges. Unfortunately, I did not get to stamp this soap because at the time my soap stamp was actually like AWOL. I could not find it anywhere. I did end up finding it after having made this soap, but at this point it had already firmed up that I wouldn't have felt safe trying to stamp into it. Like, it might have caused some damage to either the soap or the stamp itself. So this one was left unstamped. But you can see how nice those edges get cleaned up. And I did have a little bit of air pockets, and to solve that issue, I just took my soap shreds from the beveling and filled them in. And there is Dark Mark, you guys. How do you think I did? Do you think I captured that Death Eater vibe? How about Voldemort? Here's a peek at that glow action too. I'm kind of using a crappy UV light here. I couldn't find my really good one, but you get the idea of how well it glows in the dark. That's everything, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.